Hello everyone, my name is SACHIN Hissaria, and in this video we will be discussing about the SOX audit. Okay, so we will be covering why this SOX Act was passed, what is the SOX, then we will discuss what are the domains that you need to cover as a part of SOX IT audit and how you can perform this SOX audit. So I will be sharing you a real life template where we will be discussing about one control uh, with the practical example. So let's start the video. Okay. So our first topic is why this act was passed. So basically in 2002, there were a lot of accounting scams happening in the US market. Okay. So due to that accounting scams, what happened? It was impacting the financial market and the general investor trust. So they have passed this law, Sarbanes-Oxley Act, and as per this law, they have formed two committees basically. So one is PCAOB, which is Public Company Accounting Oversight Board, and the second is SEC. Okay, so they have formed this board which will govern the entire SOX Act. Okay, and they have also specified some penalties for non-compliances. So this is a background about the SOX, why they have passed this act. Now, what is the SOX? Okay, so basically from 2006 all the public company which are listed on the US stock market, they need to submit one form. That form is known as a 20F form. 20F. I will show you the template of this 20F form. So as a part of compliance on annual basis, they need to submit this form to SEC. In that form, they will comment about the effectiveness of their financial auditing control. Okay, so as a part of this compliance, they will appoint one external auditor who will report on the internal control of the company. Okay, so that auditor will comment whether their company's financial data are accurate and adequate controls are in place to safeguard the financial data. So they will do this compliance on annual basis through 20F form. Okay. So basically company will appoint an SOX auditor and who will check the controls as per section 404. Okay, now let me show you the 20F form. So this is the 20F form that company needs to file on annual basis. Okay, I will share you this form in the comment. Okay, so this is the SOX. Now let's see what is SOX IT audit. Okay, as a part of SOX IT audit, what you need to do and what are the domains that generally we verify. So a review of company's internal control is often a largest component of SOX compliance audit. Internal control includes the IT asset. Okay, so the internal control also include the IT related asset and their component. So basically in SOX IT audit, we verify this four domain. Domain one is IT security. So where we will be checking whether necessary controls are put in place to prevent the data breaches and the tools are implemented to remediate the incidents. So basically here we will verify the security related controls like DLP is there, firewall is there, antivirus is there, and other endpoint security controls. So this is first domain. The second domain is access control. So in access control, you will verify the physical as well as logical access which are there to prevent unauthorized user from viewing any sensitive financial information. So this we will verify as a part of access control. Then the third is data backup, where you will check whether they are taking the backup, whether they are doing the restoration. Okay, so this you will verify as a part of data backup. And the next domain is change management. So in change management, what will happen? We will verify whether all the changes related to system, all the changes related to application, whether they are properly tracked, okay, and they are properly done or not. So this four domain we verify as a part of SOX IT audit. Okay. Now we will see how this SOX IT audit is done in the real life. Okay, what are the steps that generally we follow to conduct this audit? Okay, so basically your SOX IT audit is divided into two phases. The first phase is related to documentation of actual process and control. So what you will do as an auditor, you will do a walkthrough. Okay, you will do a walkthrough. In walkthrough, you understand the as is process and you document the same. Now let me show you how this process is documented. Okay, I will show you one SOX audit template here. So as you can see, this is the template. Okay, this is the template which I have prepared. Now in this template, if you will see, first what we are doing, we are documenting the as is process. Okay, whatever the as is process is there in the organization, we are documenting the same. Okay, so this is the description of control. Okay, this is the description of control here. So first we have defined the control objective. For example, what is control objective here? In case of new hire, whether HR has included all the details in the module or not. Okay, whether they are accurately covered in the ERP HR module or not. So this is my control objective. What is the risk associated with this control? That we have documented here. What control activity which is there in the organization. So basically, they will compare the data entered into ERP module with the actual physical copies. Okay, so this is the control activity which auditor will check. Okay, and then other information like whether this is a preventive control, detective control, whether it is a manual control or automated control, what is the frequencies of this control, and the maturity of control. So in this part, what we have done, we have documented the actual processes and control, what actual processes there and what controls are put in place. So this is a first phase. Okay, so likewise you will do this activity for all the four domains. Okay, all the four domain which we discussed in a previous slide, we will do this activity for all the domain. Once this is done, then what auditor will do? Auditor will test the same to ensure that that control is implemented throughout the year. So what is this? This is like a test of effectiveness. Okay. Here what we have did, here we have checked the design, which is TOD. Okay, and in the second phase you are doing TOE, which is test of effectiveness, where you will do a actual testing to check whether these controls are implemented in the organization throughout the year or not. So we'll do a testing, we'll do a verification, and then we will identify the deficiencies if there is any. Okay, so you will identify both the deficiency. Is there any deficiency in the design or operating effectiveness? So now let's see the second part of this template, which is a testing part. Okay, so this is a testing part. In the test, first you will determine the testing technique, which technique you are using. Now for testing also, there are a lot of techniques. Okay, like there are 4 techniques. Let's discuss what are the testing techniques. So basically, auditor can test the control using this 4 method. Okay, using this 4 method, he can do a testing. So first is what? First is inquiry. So in inquiry, what will happen? Auditor will just inquire about the control, asking the oral questions. Okay, so he will ask orally whether this control is there or not. So this is an inquiry, and this is the weakest type of control validation. Then the second is inspection and examination. So in inspection and examination, what auditor will do? He will actually inspect the documentation. Okay, whatever documents are there, he will evaluate the documentation and evidences. So it is known as a inspection and examination. The third is observation. So in observation, what auditor will do, he will just observe the things. For example, if you go for data center audit, then you observe a lot of controls, whether this is there or not. So you take one tour to the facility and you observe the thing. So this is an observation. And the next is a re-performance. So in re-performance, what auditor will do, he will actually re-perform the same task using some dummy data, or maybe using the past transaction history. Okay, so he will do a re-performance. So these are the four different type of testing methodology. Okay, now this, suppose if you only do the inquiry, okay, so this inquiry is not a sufficient evidences for operating effectiveness, and neither the walkthrough alone. So auditor cannot say that I have just inquired about the control. This is not insufficient evidence. So as an auditor, you have to use combined testing technologies. So you will do inquiry, you will do a walkthrough, you will observe. So this inquiry alone is not insufficient evidence. Okay, so this is how you need to test. If it is a low risk, then you will do low risk control, then you will do inquiry, walk through and observe the things. If it is a high risk, then it is always advisable to use reperform. Okay, so this is how auditor conducts the testing. So whatever testing technique he has used, he will mention the same. Then sampling methodology, which sampling methodology he has used, what he has tested. Okay, to validate this control, what testing activity auditor has done. So he will specify that I have selected 25 new employee samples, then I have checked this data in the 25 samples. And you can prepare your sample sheet as well, where you will mention about all the 25 test cases, what was the date of hire, what you have verified, whether you have noted any exceptions or not. So you will document the same in the sample sheet. Then you will specify the population, sample size, and everything. Okay, so this is how you perform the SOX audit. Okay, this is how you perform the SOX audit. First you will do an walkthrough to understand the process, then you will do a testing. So this is a template for SOX audit. Okay, so that is all for today's video, guys. Okay, if you want any clarification, if you have any doubt, you can let me know in the comment section. See you in the next video. Till then, bye bye and take care. Thank you.